playing Star Wars, which we're about to play today. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm still doing my second run of Elden Ring, which has been superb, and I cannot wait to play more of that. We've got chill late night streams of Final Fantasy V and Oblivion. And coming up in June, we've got really big high-profile games that I'm excited to play. So how am I supposed to be playing a 100 to 120 hour long game, right? Even, let's be honest here, a normal person who doesn't do what I do for a living, who has a job, a family, you're in school, you have responsibilities. You can't just sit around playing games all day. Realistically, how many hours a day does a normal person have to play games? A couple hours, maybe? You expect me to play this game for 3 months? And I'm still going to have interest in it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. At this point, I'm starting to actually strongly question game developers' logic when it comes to the way that they're developing games. Like, I don't need a ginormous open game with a bunch of padding. I just want a game that's streamlined and good. And you know what? I hate to say it. That's what Zelda games used to be. If you take a look at Zelda games, right? Yes, they always had some optional hidden content, but for the most part, they actually were some pretty nice experiences where everything was kind of curated and created just for an awesome hands-on experience. Every time you were in a dungeon, there's stuff just for that dungeon or whatever. Now that they've made these games giant and bloated, is it really going to have that same feeling? And is it going to, or is it going to be, oh, 120 hours, but out of the 120 hours, only like 30 hours was fun, but you spent 5 months playing the game, right? Now, I do have another thing to ask, all right? Because already I'm 7 hours in and I've now completed 8 dungeons. I take that back, temples. They're not called dungeons, they're called temples. It's the same premise as the temples in Breath of the Wild. There are mini challenge areas where you're going to use your game's like puzzle solving abilities, the new ones. You know, the combining, the rewind ability, the rise ability where you float and go through things. You're going to use these to solve puzzles, all right? And you get rewards. Now, if you just beat the shrine, you get an upgrade item. And for every 4, I believe you either get a new heart or you get more stamina. So that's good. But there's optional items in the game, or in the dungeons. Okay? And here's where I'm starting to actually get legit upset, and I'm only 7 hours in. So every optional dungeon, or every temple that I've done, I've tried to do the optional objective. And the optional objective, arguably, is much harder than the standard objective. You have to figure out, like, an extra way to do the puzzle solving, the traversal, whatever it is, to get this extra chest. Okay? I've opened up 8 of these. Literally, every single one is a complete waste of your time. There has not been a single optional chest I've opened that had anything of use. Last night, the last thing I did on my Zelda stream was an optional temple. We figured out how to complete it. And then there was the optional chest. Okay, let's figure this out. So we figure it out. It took a while. It was tough. It was actually quite challenging because you had to make a thing that was in the way have to be suspended in the air, and then you had to hit a ball with a timing and had to hit a target. So we figure all this out. It took like 15 minutes to figure out the second half. We go and we open the chest. It's an elixir. It's a stamina elixir. The same stamina elixir you can easily make yourself at any cooking area in the entire game by just tossing a couple common components together. Why did I have to solve an optional puzzle that was difficult to get a standard item that you can get in the game in 2 seconds? It doesn't make any sense. So I was actually talking to my wife about this last night, and we came to the determination what it sounds like happened was, much as what happens in these games, you have different groups working on the game, correct? So you had one group who was tasked with designing the puzzles in the temples, right? So all their task was make a challenging puzzle. So they did that, right? They say, here's a puzzle. The standard one is here. The extra one is here. It's an increase in difficulty, you know, estimated 20 minutes to complete or whatever, right? But then you had another team, and that team is working on item placement. Oh, whereabouts in the game should certain items be for plot advancement? You don't want to put an item too early in the game because it would be overpowered. This particular temple is early on in the game. So the item placement team, not looking at the difficulty level of the temple, just arbitrarily places an item in the temple, not even realizing you had to solve a pretty difficult puzzle to get that reward, so you work your ass off to solve it to get a piece of junk, right? That is a disconnect in game development. It should have been the teams are working together and saying, wow, the actual difficulty level of the challenge equates in a better reward. If I'm going to work my ass off to solve this tough puzzle, Give me something good. Give me a unique weapon. Give me a component I can combine for a unique item I've never had before. Don't give me something I already have in my inventory, right? It's just stupid.